meeting. Good morning. Welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. Is there anybody here that is here for the very first time? So I do know that there is one person that's here for the very first time, and maybe he's a little bit shy, but I would just love everyone to welcome Hart's friend Willard. Now, what you might not know about Willard is that Willard celebrates his 101st birthday tomorrow.
So today's reading is from Thomas Merton. Conscience is the soul of freedom, its eyes, its energy, its life. Without conscience, freedom never knows what to do with itself. And a rational being who does not know what to do with himself finds the tedium of life unbearable. He is literally bored to death. Just as love does not find its fulfillment merely in loving blindly, so freedom wastes away when it merely acts freely without a purpose. An act without purpose lacks something of the perfection of freedom, because freedom is more than a matter of aimless choice. It is not enough to affirm my liberty by choosing something. I must use and develop my freedom by choosing something good. And so now I'd like to invite up our healing sound professionals, Paradiso and Rasamai.
Do you say that stinking polio? Do you think that's what I'm thinking when I stand up here? That stinking polio? You know, you have notes. You have things that I could say. I don't want to say those things. I want to say what's in my heart. I have space. When I came in, they seemed nervous that I was going to break something. It's like when you take a kid to a china shop. Why would you take a kid to a china shop? I don't know, but you do, and you're getting there, you're like, oh, don't do anything. Stop thinking. I saw someone's son come up here with the race car shoes, and he started, I saw him approach, I told you I saw him approach like, ooh. Yeah, that one's going to be hard to break. But I can. You know, people talk about Jesus a lot. A lot. We live in the Southeast, and I work with a lot of seminary students, and I talk about Jesus a lot. Sometimes I just want to tell them, you guys talk about Jesus a lot. What's with Jesus? But although we think about Jesus a lot, I feel like we don't think about Jesus a lot. Because, so beautiful. They're up here playing this music, and it overtakes you. It moves through you. It penetrates you. And you can't help it. You can't move out of the way from it. It's like being submerged in something. It's like breathing. It's like being in air. What's it like being in air? Well, it's here. It's there. It's for you. I feel, although I don't know, but I know, that knowing Jesus must have been the same way. Knowing Buddha or Lao Tzu must have been the same way. When Confucius went up a mountain, he said, I'm going to meet Lao Tzu, this guy. And he goes up the mountain, and when he comes back, all his followers are like, so what was he like? And Confucius says, today I met a dragon. In the Chinese culture, a dragon flies without wings. To know Jesus must have been to be penetrated by that always. As soon as you walk in his presence, it's just like, what is this? It's not what he says. It's not what he does. It's something about him that I experience God through him. God's son, the Messiah, the chosen one. And it was so powerful that after his death, his followers continued to experience him and started to tell a tale that he had been raised. He didn't die because death can't destroy that. That's what I felt when you guys played today. It's just, that's what it must have been like, just being in that presence. So Bill calls me earlier this week. Are you here, Bill? Of course you're not. Hooky. Hey, Hooky. So that means we can talk about him. Have you ever noticed the smell? But he calls me and he says, Andy, I threw my back out. I'm in excruciating pain. I need you to speak for me. And I say, that's wonderful. Not that you're in excruciating pain. I will not laugh when I get off the phone. But that I get to be here with you. Because this is amazing. I love being here with you. This presence is like, do you guys surf? I don't either. But surfing, I hear it's about acceptance. I hear it's about being with the wave. You know, the wave gives you something and you just ride it. You guys give me something. I just ride. This is not hard at all because you've already given so much to me. I just got to ride it and see what happens. So when Bill told me what to talk about, he does that. Talk about that. Okay. Get off the phone. My wife says, make this. Like, okay. My kids say, play with me. I'm your servant. So he tells me what to talk about. And I just think it's such a good idea. Like this thing is such a good idea because we do it all the time. We wake up in the morning and we do it. We get out of the shower, we do it. We go down to breakfast, we do it. We're talking to the kids, we're doing it. We go to work, doing it all day. Just doing it. Sometimes we don't want to do it, then we have to do it. Sometimes we try not to do it, but that's doing it. We get home at night, we don't want to do it anymore. I'm done doing it. My wife actually says that. I'm done doing it! What do you want to eat today? I'm done doing it! Mama needs some space. But we do it all the time, and it's It seems like such an important part of our life that we kind of want to know how to do it well, how to do it good. I'm talking about decisions. We make decisions all the time. Some of our decisions seem relatively tiny. This morning I talked about getting dressed. It's not a hard decision, unless you're me. You're like, well, these pants or these pants? I actually did that this morning. These pants or these pants? These pants or these pants? One pair of pants was more comfortable. One I thought looked better. Guess what I went with? What? Oh, it's so obvious. It's so good. Obviously, comfort. Did you dress for comfort today? You look very comfortable. No, I went with the look. Oh my goodness. I mean, that's not a big decision, is it? Because it's not going to have a wide berth. You know, every decision is a pea in the ocean has a wake to it. What I'm going to wear is not that important. You know, so these are small decisions. Like, what am I going to watch on TV tonight? You know, am I going to walk like this today? I'm going to walk like this today. Minor decisions. Some decisions we make seem more important. They seem to have a wider wake. They seem to impact our lives more, like what I'm going to eat, what am I going to put in my body, how am I going to fuel myself? How is that going to work? You know, am I eating to feel good? Am I eating because it tastes good? Am I not going to eat it all today? Maybe I will fast. Some decisions seem dire. That's a big word, but a small word. Dire. Meaning, when I make this decision, my entire life will change. If I leave this job and I dedicate my life to a nonprofit, if I move to India for a year, if I join a different church, if I get married, if we have children, these are dire decisions because we believe they'll impact our life greatly. We believe the wake from that decision is just going to keep going and going and going. I have children, believe me, it doesn't stop. Some days you wish it would. Can't you stop for today? If they were here, they would have already broken stuff. I'd be so proud. Can you give Daddy $4,500? But no matter what, all decisions, whether they're tiny in our eyes or whether they're large in the eyes of the world, all have one thing in common. Every decision we make, no matter what, has this in common. It changes us and it changes the universe forever. Every decision you make changes you and the universe forever. Indra's web. Indra is, what? Yes. Is that what you said? Yes. Indra's web, yes. I'm good. You know what that is, don't you? Yes. Oh, is that what you saying that? Yes.
I got a peanut gallery behind me.
So, Indra is the king of the gods. Indra's the king. Number one god, leader god. And Indra spins a web of creation. And that is life. That is the universe. And this web is made up of intersections. And at every intersection, there's a jewel. And that jewel is a life, a being. And think how many jewels are in the web that is the universe. Think how many jewels. And every single jewel, which is every single life, reflects all the other jewels. And all the other jewels reflect it. It's an image. The Hindu traditions are known for images. Whoa! It's so good. It's an image that represents interconnectedness. It means that if something in my jewel shifts ever so slightly, every other jewel shifts ever so slightly. So every decision you make changes Indra's web. They're that important. Even what shirt to wear, even what pants to wear, even if they're just comfortable. That's cool. Do you want me to get it? That'd be fun. You're only interrupting the most important talk ever. That's cool. So if these decisions are that important, you can decide to answer the phone. That's cool, man. You decided to call. It's meant to be. It gives us a moment to stop and start again. But if these decisions are that important, that dire, if every decision we make changes the entire web of creation, then we probably want to figure out some way to make good decisions. Because we care about our web. We care so much about life. We want to act in a way that's good. We want everything we decide, from what we wear to what we eat, to what we do with our lives, our livelihood, to how we walk, to how we behave, to how we drive. We want it all to be so good. You wouldn't be here today if you didn't want your decisions to be good. Besides, by the way, coming here was a good decision. So how do we do that? How do we make good decisions? What's the process like? Well, there's two things we need to look at then. Good decisions. Good decisions. Decisions that are good. Decisions that are good. We need to look at what decisions are, how they're made up, what's in them, what's going on when we make a decision. And we need to understand what good is. Because how are we going to do good things if we don't know what good is? So what is a decision? I have broken it down like a chef. I used surgeon earlier. I like chef better. So I say this is the decision. It's like a piece of kiwi. So every decision is made up of three components. Every decision, no matter how small it is, no matter how conscious you are, no matter how conscious you are of what's going on, every decision has three components. Every single one. Every one, small or big. There are the circumstances of the decision, the reality of the decision, the things impacting your choices, internal and external. There's the intention, the heart of the decision. And then there's the action. Every decision has these three components, and by understanding them, we can start to learn to make good decisions. So what are these circumstances? Let's just say you're hungry. Are you hungry? Are you hungry?
Yes.
Yes. Even if you're not hungry, just say you are. Are you hungry?
Yes.
Yes. Good. There's a potluck. You should come. See how that works? I got a cord inside me. I'm sorry. Sorry, YouTube. You have to wait a minute while my cord adjusts. So let's say you're hungry. The external circumstances, the external variables, the circumstances that will help you decide what to eat are things like what's available to me. What's in my kitchen? You ever go to the kitchen hungry and there's nothing there? Except like ketchup and sugar? And then your wife comes downstairs and what are you eating? Sorry. Well, that's an external variable. That's an external variable. That's a variable, a circumstance beyond you that's going to impede or going to control how you decide. Also, there are societal variables. We talked about eating bugs earlier. Y'all eat bugs? No. You don't? No. I'm disgusted. Not on purpose? Yeah, someone told me this morning that at night every 3 hours a spider crawls in your mouth. That was the freakiest thing I've ever heard. I know. Or there's bugs in peanut butter. We learned a lot of things. But did you know that more cultures in the world eat bugs than the cultures that do not eat bugs? You did know that. So if you wake up in the middle of the night and you have gotten a spider appetizer and you want yourself a crispy critter or a chocolate-covered grasshopper, you're not going to be able to get one because we live in a country that doesn't really eat many bugs. That's an external variable. You know, all these things that are external of you, these beliefs, these societal constraints that tell you what you can and can't eat. There are also internal circumstances. When you're hungry, you are tending to eat what tastes good to you, right? We want to eat what's good, what tastes good, what we crave. I want peanut butter with bugs in it. I want jelly. I want pizza. I want this. I desire sugar and coffee with sugar and caramel macchiatos and things like that. We have desires. But we also have belief systems. Systems that say that maybe I shouldn't eat animals anymore. Because maybe we have evolved to a place that we don't have to kill in order to feed ourselves. Maybe I have a belief that eating this kind of thing is right or eating this kind of thing is wrong. Maybe my doctor told me that I should lay off the sugar. And maybe I was like, no. So there's actually some of these circumstances in our life actually contradict one another. We have the impulses, we have the thoughts, we have what society is telling me. I wake up, I want to wear something. What am I going to wear? I should wear a dress. No, don't wear a dress. Because maybe my society tells me that wearing a dress is not cool. Societal constraints. All these circumstances. Every decision you make, no matter how small, no matter how big, has an entire reality to it. Has all these variables and circumstances, and that's just food and clothes. Think about when you want to change a job. You want to leave your job, but you have a family, You have a family to support. You have little ones. That is an external variable because that will help or hinder, however you see it, how you make that decision. What if you want to write a book? I want to write a book. Well, all these external influences, like what you've read before, what the economy's like, what the market's like, all of that's going to work on you deciding that. Everything you decide has an entire reality to it. That's huge, right? Amen. Those are the circumstances of every decision. Every decision has circumstances. That's easy enough, right? That makes sense. But then there's the heart of the decision. There's the beating, pulsing, vibrating center. Did I say vibration? The vibration center. The vibration. Now I can't even say it. The vibrating center of the decision, which is the intention. The heart of every decision is the intention. And the intention for a decision is the directionality of your energy. Where are you going to point it? Where are you going to point it? You are made up of energy. You are a fluxing capacitor. That's from Back to the Future. You are a flux capacitor. God is emptying itself into your life. God is throwing itself as energy into your form, into who you are. La, la, la. And you experience this energy in two ways. You experience it as being, as who you are. I am this being. I am this moving form of energy. I can move in this direction. I can move in this direction. We also experience that energy as consciousness, as awareness. And intention is the directionality of that energy. Where are you going to point your awareness? What are you going to give it to? Where are you going to point your being to? And we always do it toward a perceived outcome. I'm hungry, I'm going to eat this. I want to clothe myself, I'm going to wear this because it looks good. No, it's comfortable. It's comfortable. I'm not going to look good today, I'm going to be comfortable. I'm going to change my job and I'm going to do this. See, we move our intention in the direction of a perceived outcome. I'm going to do this. And then what do? What's number 3? We act. And actions are not intentions, they're different. How often in your life have you intended something without acting on it? Whoa. Did the light just go off? I do that all the time. Bill's lying in bed. I intended to go to the service this morning. But I didn't act on it. So when we have an intention, when we point, we understand the circumstances, we're influenced by them, we directionalitate. We point our energy in a certain direction, our focus. I am focused on this perceived outcome, and then I act on it. I activate it. I move in that direction. And guess what I just did? I made a decision. It's that simple. It may not. I know. Circumstances, internal, external variables. Intention, the directionality of energy. Okay. Action, deliberate, and yeah, that's simple. Very simple. That's so very simple. Actually, you do it intuitively all the time. You make decisions all the time, and they're always made up of these 3 components. However, we don't just want to decide things, do we? We want to make good decisions. Good circumstances, or understanding circumstances in a good way. Making an intention toward the good, acting in the good. We want to be good people, living in a good world, experiencing a good life. Well, in order to understand what good is, let's look at what people are saying. Here are the people. Come out of my shirt. Come out of my shirt. It's a spider. So what is good? Well, if you look back at philosophy over time, there has generally been 3 ideas about what is good. 3 general overbearing topics about, I know, words today. General themes. What? Overarching topics about what is good. Now, the first general idea or theme or overarching topic, I need a teleprompter. The first one is the most intuitive. The first one is when you hear it, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Totes makes sense. That's what the kids say. Totes makes sense. It is the egoist view, or what's called egotism. It says that a decision is good if it's good for me. Hey, I did it. I've conquered my life. What do I eat? I eat things that make me feel good. What do I wear? I wear things that are comfortable, no matter how they look. What kind of job do I want to work at? I want to work at a job that fulfills me. I want to be happy. I marry the person I love. I have kids. Okay. There they are. I want to make decisions that make me feel good. I want to actualize my potential. That's why I'm here, right? I'm actualizing my potential. It's all about me. It's just me, myself, and I. That's what the kids listen to. So that seems intuitive because we have to take care of ourselves. We have to eat things that make us feel good. We have to have a job we like, right? I mean, right? Doesn't that make sense? It's so intuitive to think, okay, I'm going to act in a way. I'm going to look at my circumstances. Okay, which are the best for me? I like that one. That one's good. Set intentions toward perceived outcomes that actualize my own personal chi, or inner, or whatever that word is. And then I act upon it because it's good for me. Intuitive. It makes so much sense. However, it does seem a bit tiny, doesn't it? It would work if I was the only one here. If you were the only lone jewel in this huge net, making decisions just for me. Turn this way and eat this space. Turn this way, wear this space. Space behind me. But you're not. No matter how much you may believe you are sometimes, which I do, you are not the only one in the universe. You are not the only jewel in the net. So perhaps I should not just make decisions based on what's good for me. Maybe, I feel like the Grinch when he came up with that, when his heart expanded. Maybe, just maybe, it's a little bit more. Maybe I should make decisions that are good for everybody. Yeah. Maybe I should make decisions that maximize the utility. It's called utilitarianism. That's a big word. Utilitarianism is the belief that good maximizes the utility or the good for everyone. A decision is good if it's good for everyone. A decision is good if the most people involved experience benefit from it. So all I have to do, this is so simple. All I have to do is every time I decide something, think about everyone involved and make a decision based on what's going to maximize the benefit for everyone. All I got to do is always think of everyone. This is great. So I go into my closet. What am I going to wear today that people will like? Oh, yes, synthetic fibers. Synthetic, yes. Ooh, organic. Wear that. I'm going to eat things that are for every being. I talked about earlier, looking, you go to the store and you get the milk that's organic with the happy cow on the front. Oh, that cow looks happy. It gave happy milk. I bet they take care of it, so I'm going to get that milk. So we make decisions that are good for all beings. And all we got to do is think about everyone and consider every variable every time we make a decision, past, present, and future. All we got to do is extend it into thousands and thousands of years and say, okay, well, this vibration of this decision, which is a pebble, how will it affect everyone? That's viable. We can do that, right? No. Sit. You want to talk? Say it in here. No. The funny thing is, he's right. You can't do that. You can't take everyone into account. Yes, you can make decisions that seem beneficial to you. Yes, you can make decisions based on perceived outcomes and say, okay, how is this going to affect the people I know it's going to affect? But you can't. You can't make decisions based on how it's going to affect everyone because you have no idea. Once you throw something into the universe, it's gone. But it keeps affecting. When you were born, you created a vibration that's still going. And every action since then has created vibrations that are still going. We call that the universe. So how can you take everything into account? You can't. So how do I make good? Oh, no. I should have planned something else to say. Okay, hold on. So I can't make decisions that are just good for me, but making decisions that are good for me are good. Okay, I can take me into account. I can do things that are good for me, okay, I can make decisions that are good for at least as much as I can get my arms around. I can decide things. I can make decisions that are good for the most number of people possible. I can do that. But how can I know in my heart? How can I make decisions that I know are good? Maybe it has a little less to do with where I'm looking. Maybe it has a little more to do with where I'm standing. Maybe the good isn't out there. Theologians all over the world for centuries have come up with the third solution, and they all agree. Actually, none of them agree. It's kind of annoying. They say that God is good. God is good. All you have to do is act in accordance with God's will, and everything will be fine. I want to turn one of the balls. Everything will be fine. Because that's a simple concept, God's will, and it's obvious to everyone, even though none of you theologians can agree on what it means. How can I act in accordance with God's will if I don't even know what God's will is? If God is an abstract concept, if God is merely a thought that's trying to grasp the entirety of what life is. Ernest Holmes said that God is the grains of sand on the beach, and every time we have a thought about God, we scoop some up and say, here's God! But what is the rest of it? Our thoughts can't contain the vast reality of God, the simple silence of God's power. We just can't get it. So how do we live in accordance with God's will? How do we make decisions that are good? No! Back up. How do we make God decisions? Not good decisions. How do I make God decisions? Well, what is God's will? You want to know? Are you dying to know? Are you shaking in your seat? Wow, that sounded very South Carolinian. Are you shaking in your seat? You can't wait! God's will is actually a very simple idea. Or at least I boiled it down to as simple as I can get it. It's not it, of course. It'll never be it, but it echoes in my being. God's will is the presence of God echoing in your soul. And conscience, you say, well, I want to act in accordance with my conscience, with what my moral compass, with what my conscience is telling me. Conscience is where the mind and God meet. It's the mind trying to wrap itself around what God's will is, what God's presence dictates, constantly trying to understand what that presence means, what it is, and to act in accordance with it. That's all we have to do. Thank you. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. I started to say thank you, but then I thought you'd just say, okay, that's it, and you'd walk out of here perplexed. But living in accordance with God's will, or acting in accordance with that presence, all we have to do is go back to the anatomy of a decision. The thing I told you for a reason, and at the time you're like, what's this about? Oh, this circumstances? I don't care what circumstances. Intention, action, what is that? Well, all we have to do is go back and examine that again from God's point of view and say, how can I make God decisions based on circumstance, intention, and action? Well, it's easy. First of all, circumstances. What are circumstances? What is it? It's your life! Your circumstances are, your circumstances, plural, are your life, singular. My mom would kill me if I said that. Your circumstances are your life. Your circumstances are your reality. And your life is a gift from God. Your life is poured out through you, and no other being in Indra's net has your reality. No one has your closet. No one has your refrigerator. No one has your family, your dog, your yard. No one is looking at life through the same eyes as you. In the history of the billions of years of creation, no one is you. Your circumstances are completely unique. They're a gift from God, so you got to love them. Step one, making God decisions. Love your circumstances. Love what has been given to you as a gift. Notice I didn't say like. You don't have to like your circumstances. You don't have to like them all. You lose your job, you have no food. You don't have to like that. Yay, I have no food. Oh, this is great. Think positive, think positive. You or one of your loved ones gets sick. You don't have to like that. Earthquakes, hurricanes, terrorism. You don't have to like that. But you do have to love it. Which means you have to be open to it. You have to open yourself to embracing what is. In Arabic, it's mahalash. It is what it is. It is. Even if you want to change your life, even if you want to change everything in your reality, you can't change it if you don't embrace it first. You can't change it if you don't love it first. Walk into your closet. I love my clothes because these are my clothes. Look in your empty refrigerator at the ketchup and the sugar. Love the ketchup and the sugar because it's there. This is your life. These are your circumstances. Every day you wake up is a gift. You've been given all this. Life is good, not because life is always pleasant. Life is good because life is God pouring through you. It's a good thing. It's good to be alive. Love it. Embrace it. Hold it. And then, intention. So if I love my circumstances, if I open myself up to the wonder that is reality, how do I intend the good? Well, just like that. I intend the good. These projections, when we set intentions, we do so toward perceived goals, outcomes. And you're never going to get rid of that. You're never going to stop doing that. You're a human being. You have an imagination. Every time you make a decision, you're going to imagine what it's going to be like. This is who you are. But the good is not out there. The good is not in the perceived outcome. The good is where you're standing. And you give that good to the decision. Because when you act in accordance with God's will, all that means is you're acting from that place of God consciousness. It means you're acting from that stillness where all is good. It means you're acting from a place of peace, love, and joy. And then when you intend, when you point your direction, you're pointing the direction from the deepest cavern of your soul. And everything you decide will be good, regardless of the consequences. Because once you put something out there, you have no control over it. It's not yours anymore. I'm sorry. Let go of it. Let go, now! When you make a decision, when you have a thought, when you have a word, you have a deed, when you think something, once the thought goes, it's not yours anymore. Let it go. Let it go. Let it stop. Stop. Let it go. When you act, let it go. It's not yours anymore. It belongs to the world. You've given that gift. But when you give it from that place of stillness, that place of silence, that God place, when you give it from that, you are able to let it go because you can give it with love, with peace, with joy. And then every decision is good, regardless of the consequences. And then what do? You act. But how do you act? I've loved my circumstances. I've intended from a place of peace, love, and joy, which is what spiritual practice is all about, by the way. The reason we pray, the reason we meditate, the reason we sit here, get up early on a Sunday morning, come here and hear this music, is to return to that place time and time again. Because every time you return to the silence becomes a little bit deeper and follows you a little bit longer. So when you leave here, you probably notice that when you leave here in the morning, you feel pretty good the rest of the day. You think that's an accident? No, they planned that. That's what they're doing here. Dusty's sneaking. She's implanting that seed inside of you, and you're taking it with you all day, and you don't even know why. I feel so good today. Because you're walking around with that silence. Every time you go into that, you carry it around with you a little more, that no matter how loud life gets, it's still quiet. No matter how movementing, emotional life is, it doesn't matter what you say just say it with authority. No matter how movable life becomes, it's still, it's quiet, it's peace. So when you act from there, you give that good to your decisions, and then you act. And how do you act? Tell me. Darn it. Do you act half booty or full booty?
Full booty.
You act full booty. It only works if earlier we talked about half-ass and full-ass. That's what that means. I can say it. So you act deliberately. Henry David Thoreau wrote a book called Walden, a very, very long book called Walden. The longest book you'll ever read called Walden. Multiple lives of living by the woods and building houses called Walden. But he wrote this wonderful line, and it said, I went to the woods to live deliberately. When you love your circumstances, when you act from a quiet place, when you give God to every decision, then you act deliberately. Then you act with full conscience, with full awareness. You move in the decision. You bask in it, you glow in it, and you move in it. You jump in the pool. You don't wade in the pool. The pool of life. No, you jump in the pool. Act deliberately because you know where you're coming from now. If I know I'm coming from that God place, why don't I want to give it to everyone? Well, I want to walk in the room and say, God's here. You're God too. I'm God. We're all God. God's here. And those are my decisions. And I want to do them deliberately. I want to act with intention. Because once I know where that's from, I know where that's going. Because everything starts, is, and returns to God. Silence, sound, silence. I want to leave you with something. In the Sikh tradition, they have 3 primary tenets, 3 primary practices. The second practice is to live a livelihood of honesty. Whatever you do, whatever your life's about, make it honest. Live with integrity. The third one is to give what you've been given. Don't stop the flow. Keep it going. Everything you've been given, give it away. Give it away. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. But the first one and the most important, what was given to the Guru Nanak when he first felt the presence of God within him, the first thing that was given to him was Nam Japo. Nam Japo means remembering God's name. Nam is the name of God. Japo is remembrance. What is name? What is God's name? Well, look around you. Look around you. This is God's name. Walk out into creation. Look at a tree. Look at a baby. Look at a squirrel. Look at an acorn. Look at your circumstances. Feel the silence. That's all God's name. And all that's asking you to do is remember that. Be aware of that. Turn your consciousness toward that. Seek it out. Find it. Look for it, because it's always there. We don't always feel it, but it's always there. Underneath everything we do. And the more we remember it, the more it's with us. The more it moves through our words. The more it infuses our thoughts. The more it echoes in our voice and our decisions. And it just follows us everywhere. And then everything is good because everything is God. Everything is good because everything is God. Everything is good because everything is God. Thank you so much. Thank you. Are you saying that we have to pray just to make it today? MC Hammer? No, ouch. Age has set upon me. I would like to pray with you. Is that cool? Yeah. Cool. All right, well, you can close your eyes. You don't have to. I'm open to anything. Where'd that music come from? That's cool. That's cool. That's part of it. God's calling. When God calls, you have to answer. I think that's good. Thank you for that. When God calls, you have to answer. And guess what? God is constantly calling you. He's that annoying, she's that annoying, it's that annoying friend which will not leave you alone. So all you have to do is pay attention. All you got to do is look, hear, feel, taste. And it's there. It's right there around you. When the music was played earlier, you felt it in your soul, but when the music leaves, it's still there. Always there. Just asking you to pay attention, to see it, to feel it. Today we are thankful for the life that moves through us. We are thankful for being itself. We're thankful for consciousness. We're thankful for the gift of life, whatever that life means, whatever that life is in our particular manifestation, whatever our particular circumstances are, we're thankful for that. It's what we've been given. We're going to embrace it. We're going to be open to it. We're going to use it as the tools to shape something beautiful. And we set the intention to move as God. We set the intention to create as God, to decide as God, to make God decisions. And all we have to do is move from that place. All we have to do is act from that place. And guess what? You are always in that place. Isn't that convenient? And then we act deliberately, we act with intention, we act with consciousness, we act as God would act, pouring itself into creation, giving itself to everything that is. You are a gift. You are a gift. And we are thankful for you. There's this old, is it a Baptist hymn, a Christian hymn? It says, "This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it." Well, that's every day. That's every day. Sometimes it's hard to rejoice, but if we start from where we are, we can feel a little bit of that peace, that joy, that love. I love being here with you. And I'm thankful. And so it is.
So it is.